Hello, everybody. Here we are. We're back for another episode of the Uncanny Spirits Club, and we're up to episode 132, which is pretty good. That's a lot of alcohol. And I got something interesting because I've seen this advertised and I've wanted to try it. Way back in the early days of the Spirits Club, one of the things that we used to review regularly are things from Crown Royal, and so it's fitting that I should come back to them with something brand new. And this is Crown Royal Single Malt. Now, generally, most, if not all, of the Crown Royal expressions that you see out there are all going to be blended whiskey, which there's nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of really good blended whiskeys. And even the term single malt doesn't mean it hasn't been blended with something, but it's everything in it is from like a single season and a single distillery and a single batch, rather than multiple things before bottling. So just because something is blended versus single malt doesn't mean there hasn't been any blending going on. It just means it's been very specific on the rules on how you do it. But I'm interested. This is 90 proof, and I'm trying to see. I am trying to see if they have like an age statement on it, which I don't think they do. Because being single malt, I was interested in just how long it's been aged for, and it doesn't say, which it never usually says with blended things because the different blended whiskeys can all be from different times. But I would think this would have some kind of a statement on it, but I don't see it. Maybe it'll be on the bottle. I don't know. There's a little story on the back about how it's crafted in the crisp Canadian coldness at their Valleyfield distillery. And yeah, so it looks good. So let's take it out. As always, with your Crown Royal, you get a cloth bag to wrap it in. And this one's pretty nice. It's got patterns on it. The R's off center. It's an R logo rather than Crown Royal right in the middle with the normal like royal seal thing that they usually have, which usually they have that crown thing up there. And this just has this little fancy monogram there with all this silvery stuff. So it's good stuff. The bottle is pretty nice too. I mean, Crown bottles are always really, really nice for the most part. They're all unique. They're all kind of like, this has nice patterning on it. It's got like scales on it. It's good stuff. The label down here is silver where it says delicately crafted in the Canadian cold. Again, no age statement. So I'd be interested, like I said, in how long this has been distilling or how long it's been aging. I don't think it has a cork either, which is pretty standard for Crown. Crown usually has a twist-off cap. Some of their expressions have corks. Not very often. It's usually the really expensive stuff. This one was more than I usually spend, but it wasn't like a bank breaker. But it's not something that I'll be spending all the time on. Usually Crown's like $25-30. This is $59.99. So it's a bit, like I said, it's a bit pricey as far as Crown Royal usually goes. So it's not something that I would stock on a regular basis, unless it's absolutely delicious, and then I'm probably going to pine about it and wish I had $60 more often. But it can't be as good as my Angel's Envy finished rye, which is best, and it's $95 a bottle, and I feel a little tear forming every time I see it in the grocery store, because I'm not spending $95. This is one of those every so often, you know, I'll probably have this, and then for the next like 3 or 4 months, stick it down to the $20-30 level where it should be, because I'm iffy about spending a lot of money on these anymore, since sometimes you spend a lot and it's not that great. Other times it's fantastic, like the finished rye. So anyway, Crown Royal Single Malt, no cork, like I said, which is still kind of a surprise. I would have figured that they would have put a cork on something at this price level, but Japanese whiskey doesn't often use a cork either, and theirs is anywhere from $30 to $80 generally. So it's a nice solid cap though, nice silver. It looks metal, but it's not. It is plastic. But still, some effort was made. Ooh, that smells brown sugary.
Ooh.
That's a good bourbon scent there. That's a good bourbon scent. Now I'm interested. Okay, Crown Royal, you have my interest. So I'm going to pour some in the glass there. Take note of the color. It's relatively similar. The glass is a little darker because it's thicker here than what the glass is in my hand, but a nice warm golden brown. I like the presentation. I do like the presentation of this whole thing.
Oh, it does smell good.
Because I've had the Crown Royal XO before, which is like, I think it's either this same price or it might be in the 79, which is, again, you don't see me with that hardly ever because I don't want to spend $80 on a bottle of alcohol very often, if at all anymore. But I don't recall if that had a screw top or a cork. I think that had a cork, so maybe that's where they start with their price points, up in the $80 and up. Which, I'll trade out that for this, unless this is horrible. But let's put that in there. Now in the glass, I smell a lot more alcohol. In the glass, I'm getting a bit more fume. Still a nice warm bit underneath. It smells like bourbon, honestly. It smells like a high proof bourbon, which is a surprise because Canadian whiskey tends to be sweeter, more syrupy than bourbon does. That's interesting.
It smells like caramel apples.
But we're going to give this a try. I'm going to do a bit of a clink off screen, and then let's see what we've got. Ooh, sharp. It has a real sharp, it like slices into your mouth. Not in a super painful way, but a very like eye-catching kind of way. Heavy dose of cinnamon. I'm getting a lot of cinnamon spice kind of in there. Yeah, some heavy cinnamon spice. Not as sweet as regular Crown. Very warm. Very warm. This is a heater. But it doesn't sink down into your chest like other things do. It stays in your mouth. It warms you right up. I'm getting a lot of numbing on the tongue also. Like that 90 proof just hits you right off the bat, but not in a way that's really super unpleasant. Mixed with that cinnamon spice taste, it's not bad.
It'd be a good fall time drink.
Yeah, this is definitely not a summer drink. I don't think this would be something. Sorry, fly. It's summer, so we've got flies in Ohio. It's definitely something I think that would be good for the fall. Like I could see a lot of mixed drinks with this, based on like fall themes. Like I'm not going to say pumpkin spice. Let's push that away. Other spices like apple and stuff. You might be able to mix this with a little smidge of the Crown Royal apple and have yourself something pretty decent, because the strength of this might weigh out some of the sweetness in that, but some of the sweetness in that would kind of boost this a little bit. Maybe it could be horrible. Could be horrible, but the cinnamon spice on this is really like, that is the primary thing I'm getting from it.
It's a bit of vanilla.
I'm not getting any of the bourbon tastes that I thought I would. A little bit on the very back end, like it's settling into an almost bourbon feeling in the last little bit of saliva. But let's do the second, because we always got to do back to back. Even though my tongue's already pretty numb, I'm kind of wondering how this is going to affect everything now that I'm already pretty numb in the mouth. So. A little bit more sour on the second one, but not enough to ruin it.
Still very sharp.
That cinnamon taste is very heavy. It's a little bit of cream, a little bit of creaminess. Almost like a cinnamon frosting pastry. Like not quite like cinnamon bun, but like a little bit of the cinnamon taste from something like that with some of the glaze from something like that, as if that was kind of stirred in, because I'm not getting the pastry part of it. I'm getting mostly the sweet, syrupy flavors from that. All in all, not bad though. I'm very surprised at what the taste profile turned out to be. I'm impressed. This might ruin like regular Crown for me, because regular Crown is decent, but this is grown up Canadian whiskey. Crown is good stuff, but this is like, we've grown a little bit now. We go to different kinds of parties. But yeah, this is good. I like this. Do I want to spend $60 on it all the time? No, of course not. I don't like spending $60 on alcohol if I can help it, or up. Unless it's absolutely delicious and I have $60 lying around, which, I mean, with inflation, who has $60 just lying around? But as an every once in a while treat or something to get and then keep in the collection for a long length of time, yeah, I would do that. That would be on the list for like, it's a special occasion. It's fall time. We got a little bit extra to spend. We want something nice. What do we want? This is a good choice for that. Crown Royal single malt. I'm glad I got a chance to buy it. I don't know how limited this is. There weren't any signs saying that it was limited to any number of bottles, because every year when they get a special flavor, they usually have a limit at my local grocery store. The peach didn't have it this year or last year, because now they get a bunch of them and it's not as popular as it was before, apparently. I think a lot of people were interested and then decided they didn't like it.
Oh, I like it.
I don't know. We've gotten it several times, and it's come down in price even too. It's more in line with the other Crown prices than when it first came out. So they don't have a limit on that. But the blackberry came out earlier this year, and that had the limit. It had the signs that say limit 2 per customer per day, something like that. But I kind of feel like that's a more niche kind of taste. And if they didn't make super limited batches, if they made a bunch of them, I think that'll follow the way of the peach, in that it'll probably not be limited for too long. Because if you really like blackberry, then yeah, you're going to buy a bunch of them. But it's not a flavor that like everybody's going to be out there getting, oh, blackberry. Peach, I think, is a more popular overall flavor profile. Blackberry's not bad, and I didn't mind it. I didn't care for it as much.
So sweet, though.
I did the review. I don't know if it's, by the time you see this, you'll have seen that review. I don't know what number that is, but by the time you see this, you'll have seen that review. But this is good, and I didn't see any signs limiting it, so it's free for all for as long as they have it. It's at my local grocery store in Ohio for $59.99. A bit pricey. I don't feel as bad paying that now that I've tasted it, because it is very good. But again, I'm not going to buy this every week. I'm not going to buy it every couple of weeks. I'm not even going to buy it every month. $60 and up is getting into the range where it's got to be astounding, and I don't have like a spare $60 to drink away every month. And, and that's fine. There's a lot of good things in the $30 range that I really, really enjoy. And that's a good lesson for everybody out there who don't think that just because you spend money, you're always going to get the best stuff. There was a lot of good stuff to be had without spending a lot of coin. So, once again, that was the Crown Royal Single Malt, 90 proof. So hefty, good taste profile. Hope you like cinnamon, because that's what I'm getting out of it. And that's all I have. So, of course, until next time, as always, cheers.